Welcome to the Art Fight stream. So to explain what Art Fight is, it's an event that happens annually every July, and it involves artists of all talents and crafts and skill levels, and it generally involves doing fan art or fan work of other people's original characters. Now, I do have plenty of original characters, so this is my account. Okay. Yep, you can find me under the name Slenn. S-L-E-N-N. It's an old name. So, and here they are. Here's a few of them. So, the first four is Sarah, Emily, Winona, and Gwen. Okay, those are all original characters from my science fiction. Emily Quicksilver is the D&D version of Emily Mason. And the other few are just, I don't know how else to generally explain them, but Awa Electroweek is someone that will be a part of the canon of my science fiction. Not as of yet in the storyline. Let's see. Oh, I should probably move my avatar just to show the other two that are at the bottom there. Yeah. So, Reactor Custodian. Princess. And Electric Blue Fairy. Someone last year did do Electric Blue Fairy, and I was very pleased. So, this was quickly colored in for the sake of other people doing attacks, and that's what you call doing fan art or fan work of another character, is you do an attack. So this is the character in question. It was an old drawing, but I wanted to color it in and then submit it so that people could, actually do fan art themselves. So let's see if I can't find. Here we go. Here's the attack. Like, my heart lit up when I saw this. Nice music for this image, honestly. Yeah. Little galactic princess. Ballet, yeah. So, and this was in response to my initial attack. I just did this on paper of her character, Marietta. Let's see if I can't find her original character. I was a very big fan of ballet, and this one, I was searching for characters that met that condition. And I was like, this is a really pretty image. I like pretty, so I'm gonna do fan art of that, even if it's simple. And and there's their response. So, people are so appreciative on this website, and I gotta tell you right now, if you like doing fan art of other people's characters, like, this is the place to be, honestly. So, and generally it's just like, pick a character that you like, or do as many characters as possible. So in this instance, I'm going to be doing an attack response. This was from last year. This is this year. And oh yeah, and by the way, the different symbols here, like, okay, this year they're they're doing 3 different teams instead of 2. So there's no real benefits to being on either team. You're just like, it's just red versus blue. That's all that it really means. So in this instance, they're doing comedy, mystery, and drama, I believe. Comedy. I believe that was the case. So this is the fan art that they've done. And so this person is on Team Comedy and I'm on Team Mystery. That's why my name is in red. And that's why their name is in orange. So if we go in there, and the one that I want to do, yeah, the one that I wanted to do was this one here, Elisa. I think I could make a rough idea as to what the bottom half of their character looks like, but does it say anything here? No, it's just background. Believe me, people love to go heavy on the backgrounds for their characters. Now we can see the character artwork here. And the way this person draws heads is kind of similar to mine anyway. So I also like the hair bob. It's good. My 3/4 view heads always kind of start out the same way, like this. And also, the other reason why I wanted to choose this one is because it's a robot girl. I love robot girls. Also, doing artwork of other people's OCs gives you good practice on, like, you know, doing alternative hairstyles, that kind of thing. I'm such an unconventional artist, I gotta say, but in the way I'm doing things, because you would expect someone who's drawing stuff to have a Wacom tablet or working Wacom tablet. I chose this large of a canvas, but it's been so long since I've drawn on a full character that I didn't know exactly the scale and how it would translate, so I'm also a big fan of this kind of bob cut because I'm a really big fan of Yomo Kampaku from Toho. So I love the onion head kind of style of bob cut. In fact, this is pretty much like if you recolored this and made her not a robot, that would pass as Yomo. Now, for eyes, whenever I've drawn eyes, it's always changed from year to year. So in the past, it's gone from let's see, like how could I replicate how I used to do eyes? It used to be something like this. Like I would trace an outline like this, and then I would do this, and then I would do that, and then something like that, and I would fill it in. You know, etc., etc. You get the idea. And then I think I would do like that, like for eyelashes, like, you know, I would fill this thing in, I would fill this thing in, and then the eyes were generally very long. Almost, yeah, very Pokemon-like in style, where like they have very, very thin eye profiles, very vertical. And then I would use sort of a gel effect, or not a gel effect, but like use a lot of gradients to make it look very gem-like. Make the eyes look very gem-like. Now I've forgone that and just gravitated more towards a very simple eye style. And here what I'm going to do to help me with this... Oops, not that one. There we go. Like, based off of what I just did. It is very similar to the old style, and the eyes are generally much more round-ish, and the way I do pupils is much different than what I used to do. And I've always tried to nail down consistency for eyes, because they change from year to year, but I've kind of almost given up on that prospect or that idea, because you almost always change in regards to how you do art. You know, you find a new method, new technique, you know, or maybe you've been away for a while and you look back at your old artwork and they're like, huh, that's weird. Why did I do that? And then you do something in a completely different style. So there's no harm in trying to change your style from year to year. Yeah, her eye style is actually almost very similar to what I usually do. And she's doing something inverted where it's the colored part of the eye is in the center rather than the second ring. Instead of going white, color, and then black, it's white, black, and then color in this one. I do tend to experiment a lot with mouth styles whenever I decide to draw a character. I tend to draw my noses as lines or points. So, given that she's a robot, I don't know if... I think I'll just color the inside of the mouth dark gray. So... Alright, I think I'm ready for the neck. I always like the organic rivet look of... or plated look of... of some cartoonish robots. I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, her style is very chibi. And I'm drawing something that's not very chibi. But adaptation is always a good fundamental part of drawing, you know? Because I can't remember the last time I tried to do an ascot here. Unlike most artists, I just wing it. Like, I'll just do my best guess as to how to adapt a certain element or piece of clothing into my own style, because I've never done it before. Strangely enough, in Art Fight, there is a mechanic called, I think it's the amount of polish. So whenever you submit an attack, right, so you go to the character, then you submit your artwork as the response, and then you select the kind of style you used, the kind of equipment you used, whether or not you did pen and paper, or pencil and paper, or digital artwork, like, and then you'll be able to select whether or not you put in, like, polish. You're scored a certain number of points based off of effort or the like you put into the artwork. I don't think it like, in that sense, it rewards perfectionism, but there is great risk if you didn't put that much effort into making the drawing and then claim that you put a lot of effort into it to just try and score more points. God, this will be the very alien territory for me, because I hardly ever draw suits or a bust. I think that kind of works. Or, well, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I haven't filled in the shoulder pads yet. I am gonna absolutely guess on how those are supposed to work. It's more of a... Let's see, the scoring system is more of a risk if you... I would say it's not necessarily a low amount of work, but if you do an average amount of work, like what I'm doing now, and then claim that you're doing high polish. Which I'm not. So... I think she has a slight bust. I think that's what that's meant to look like. But I could be wrong. Oh wait, that's right. It did... See that her character profile says she's like like in her 20s, but in but age she's programmed to be like 25, but her age wise, physically, she is 60 years old or something like that. I think that's the idea, which I think is kind of funny. It's the difference in how robots age. I don't think of myself as a very rapid drawer. I think of myself as like a steady drawer, maybe. I guess that might be the best way to think about it. This is also kind of like my first time doing this just straight from like a digital drawing instead of going from a pencil and then to a digital and then to a full color. So GIMP is a great program, but it does have a lot of settings that I don't understand. Like there's hardness, there's force, there's opacity, all for the same brush, and I genuinely don't know the difference between a few of each aside from probably like opacity. The art fight program also is like based off of like a system of trust that when you submit a character that is your own, they're gonna just they are gonna trust that you did uh, that artwork yourself. So, because if it isn't yours, then you can only guess as to what might happen after that. It kind of does remind me of oh god, what's the robots from Cave Story actually? Papa Android has always commented that whenever I do a digital piece of artwork, the lines always come out so crisp. And I think that might be the reason why, is that like I tend to draw them very thin. And I do a lot of shaping with the lines, like just trimming and cutting them. Though the eye style kind of does remind me of murder bots or murder drones. Which is a series that I think uh it's like I watched the entirety of it, and I think I had the same issues as I had with other people watching murder drones, in that Liam Vickers is a wonderful has wonderful character design, but his storytelling could use some improvement because everything kind of flashes by so quickly whenever you're watching any one of those episodes. I think its humor was fine. I think that was fine. I didn't mind the blood or the gore or the robo gore, however you want to call it. But I think he definitely had. I think that the show did suffer from a lot of like people going, "Huh? What was that? What were they trying to depict going on there?" So, yes, it looks like she has the artificial eyelash look. I mean, I too have the artificial eyelash look. I don't know if it's you can. I don't know if people have been able to tell in my streams, but that's generally how it looks. I'll zoom in here in a second to show off my eyes in a much better detail. But if you look at them, right? You look at my eye here, right? It looks kind of artificial, doesn't it? So, one of the things I had to make sure was that to convey the notion that my eyelashes are artificial. Yeah. Anyway. I sincerely thought that the Stellaris music was booting up. There's a particular track that starts off in this way. I think it's just simply called Creation and Beyond. I think is what it's called. Kind of creating like an artificial barrier since it is just an upper bust. Yeah. This music is making me rather drowsy. I think I might have picked the wrong music. Ah, no! That's not what I wanted to do. Actually, what I think I hit the cut key, not like Control X, and not Control Z. I totally forgot that I was probably gonna yeah, shorten those things, the shoulders. Well, I'm coming back here after a couple of days, after a bit of work, and doing this offline, the second half offline. And I keep looking at this picture, and like the way the smile is done is just not doing it for me. So I'm gonna change it a little bit. I think that's actually a whole lot better, I think. I recently did get a bit or a call from Mama Android, and we were discussing what to keep. She has a lot of leftover stuff back from when Sister Droid and I were very young in our childhood years. She's asking, "Oh, do you want to keep any of your drawings? Do you want to keep any of your old report cards?" And I told her the report cards might be an interesting artifact for a little bit, but I think the more memorable things for me, I think, are the drawings. Just because I have so few drawings left over from my childhood, and I want to see what those are like. Admittedly, drawing offline is a little bit of a strange experience because I'm not doing it for an audience right now. I don't have to worry about an audience. I've noticed that some videos on YouTube will get more attention, and then sometimes I'll get more attention on Twitch. It's just altogether very strange. Okay, I think I'm ready to go on to shading and highlights, and this process is always kinda easy for me. I always start with one object, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know exactly how the shading works. And the shadow layer, for me, has always worked the same way. I pick some level of gray here, and then I make the layer multiply. And with this thing, I'm just gonna do a flat force. So I will be very interested to see what my mom finds as far as there was only a rough description as far as what she found. I'm also trying to work on, recently in my head, I've also been pondering how to do a Geiger counter demo for all y'all, because I think it'd be a lot of fun to showcase that. Most of the time when I edit lines or shadows, it will take a bit of coordination between the shadow layer and the line layer. Oh shoot! I totally forgot that there was a darker color in that middle. Okay, let me do that real quick. Back to what helps me for sleep aid is either awesome games done quickly, watching, or pretty much listening to Vine Sauce. And even he himself finds it strange that people actually use his stuff for sleep aid, because he's sometimes screaming. So, but most of the time he's honestly one of the quieter streamers that I've ever listened to. And since he's in a slightly older age group than I am, I find him a bit more relatable than other streamers. I don't want to keep jumping back and forth between topics, but when I get those old drawings, I will definitely try and do like maybe a showcase. Just as like, oh hey, let's go through my old stuff. First I thought some of these tracks that I've picked out, or not picked out exactly, but have been arranged by the automatic DJ on Epidemic Sound here. They make me think that an Ina video is about to play. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I don't blame you. But Ina, and for my context, always refers to the character by Joel G. Which is probably one of the best pieces of surrealist fiction that I've ever seen. I love it to death. It's so bizarre and so interesting, and the character interactions are always just so nuts. And I have played Dream Barbecue, and that game's short enough I might actually do that one. It is a puzzle game. Sort of. Well, yeah, it is a puzzle game, kinda. This stage always requires a bit more guesswork than the other stages in the drawing process for me. I think that actually kind of works. Yeah, I don't know why. Like the shading just kind of works there in that sense. I've also been looking up at past drawings and wondering if I want to add a bit of eye glimmer that I sometimes add to my normal human characters. I kind of like this music for drawing a robot character. Highlights are always kind of subjective, since they're always based on the color, as well as, like, you know, the reflectivity of the surface. Yeah, as opposed to a shadow, which is always flat. So, since she's metal, I'm gonna put a bit of shine on the cheek. For the hair, my technique has changed from drawing to drawing ever so slightly over the years, but kind of has the same idea. So I'll pick a color, right? I'll start the color there, and then I'll try and pick a shade upwards. I think the one that I picked earlier was a little bit too gray. And then I'll make a line that follows the natural hair profile across the front, like that. And depending on which hair strands are there, I will add segments starting from this little anchor-shaped highlight section, or at least in the direction of the hair. Yeah. I think my problem definitely earlier was picking the right color. I really like that, actually. Yeah, I think I'm just going to trim up a few things, and then I'll go on to submitting it. The question for me right now is whether or not to add eye glimmer, as I always love to do. No, normally in the human characters, that's just creating a couple of circles that are about this size. I think that's actually pretty good. Kind of makes it a little cuter. It's kind of hard to tell if whether or not the antennae, the green bits on the antennae, are reflective or emissive. I think I'll go with that as my like final submission. I think there's almost nothing else I can really do. So now I'm gonna try and show the stage involving. Oh no, that's not supposed to be there. Oh well. Anyway, now what I'm gonna show is the process behind the submission for characters. And this is for anyone that is curious about how Artfight works. So if you want to stop at this point, that's fine. If you've already know how Artfight works, but let's see, for those interested, so how it works, right? You'll find the character in question that you want to do. Okay, you'll hit the word attack. Okay, please make sure you take a look at our attack guide for rating your attack. Okay. All right. So there's a number of different parameters that are used in order to rate it. So the size of how much a character is visible in the attack. This rating is applied to each character in your attack. This category, so drawn/painted. This category is for 2D drawings and paintings made digitally or traditionally. 3D modeling is for art made with a computer that applies space through dimensions of height, depth, and width. And crafts is for handmade physical art using materials like fabric, clay, beads, and glass, etc. The majority of the crafted attack must be handmade by you, of course. Animation. This category is an add-on for attacks that include movement and motion and can be added to any category. When artists go above and beyond to attack with such a ferocity that's deserving of a high rating, they're encouraged to select this option. Polish should include extraordinary work, time, or effort that can be seen throughout the piece. Frequent misuse of the polish button is discouraged. And of course, a lovely little graphic by another user. Time, effort, or pride. I always play it on the safe side and say that like I do a decent amount of work. I always try to make it look good, and the line work is nice. But I don't think I'm like a very high polish kind of artist, so. Alright, so with that in mind, private description. Okay, so description obviously of the attack is like that. This will be public, and then private description, you can add an optional description here that will only be shown to the recipient of the attack. Yeah. So like saying, thank you so much, your character is so adorable, that kind of thing. Right. Main image. Thumbnail image. Oh no. Oh no. I think. Oh shoot. You can choose automatic thumbnails for this. I think for this one, I think I'll just include her head. Yeah, just her main head. Type, drawing, finish level, clean sketch, lined, color, clean color, shading. I would say minimal shading. Background, simple, yep. Find revengeable attacks. Well, attacks can only be revenged once. Okay, find revengeable attacks. Emily. Yes, that one. All right. Select a size. Simple shaped characters. Head. Bus shot. Yep. Okay. Da, 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 da. And that's it. So, confirm attack details. Revenge 4. Calculated points 20. Submit attack. There we go. And we'll just wait to see what they have to say. So, oh, I forgot to describe it, but that's fine. I can definitely DM the artist, telling her that there probably will be a video of me doing the drawing later. So, but yeah, thank you for joining me on this little exercise. I think it's a wonderful time to be alive and to draw. So it's always a good human thing to do to practice artwork. So, all right. I will see you later. I will contemplate many more games and videos for us to see. So, see y'all later. Bye-bye.